Welcome to the Services Australia podcast, where we discuss our payments and services and give you all the information you need to help you when you need it. Today I'm joined by General Manager Hank Jongan. Hi Hank, how are you going today?
I'm really well, thank you.
Excellent. And today we're going to talk about Centrepay. Well, let's start with what is Centrepay?
Well, look, it's a free bill paying service that's offered by Services Australia. And essentially what it's about is enabling our customers to manage expenses like accommodation, utilities and other essential services. In fact, something like 80% of the value of deductions from Centrepay go towards those costs. Which of course helps our customers to stay on top of their important bills. And look, it's currently used by about 600,000 people, so it's a pretty popular service.
And do you have to be a Centrelink customer?
Yes, you do. It is primarily intended to help our customers manage their income. And that's why it's specifically targeted as a bill-paying service.
So why is Centrepay undergoing changes now?
Well, look, it's changing because essentially it hasn't been working as intended for some of our customers. There have been instances of financial harm to individuals, and that's often resulted from poor practices by some of the businesses that are registered. Community feedback indicated that changes were necessary to better protect customers, but also to simplify the service and try and return it back to its primary purpose of bill payments.
And I guess it's important, isn't it, to listen to those businesses and customers and react when they say it's perhaps not working as it should. So can you highlight some of the key changes and key areas that did change?
Sure. Look, customers were being signed up for services they didn't want or couldn't afford. There were often ongoing deductions that continued even after they'd stopped shopping at a certain business. There were instances where customers were overcharged for some items. And there were also some cases where the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC, banned certain businesses from using Centrepay purely because of misconduct.
So what are the changes? What have we done to address these really serious issues?
Well, look, basically, Centrepay is going back to basics, to being a bill-paying service. So services related to consumer leases, clothing, household goods, which have seen many complaints, will be removed in future. There will also be new safeguards that will be introduced, which will include, for example, mandatory target amounts and end dates for deductions. And there'll be a new application and approval process for businesses, along with a specialist support that we will provide to help consumers resolve any complaints that they may have.
So that's a lot of substantial changes that are being made. How did we decide to come up with those changes?
Well, we've engaged in extensive consultation over the last 18 months in both regional and remote areas right across Australia. And basically, what we wanted to do was get a first-hand understanding of how Centrepay can support those that actually need it and use it. And so community feedback indicated that basically changes were necessary to better protect customers and also to simplify the process and returning it to its primary purpose, which was bill payment.
And it's always so important, isn't it, to listen to our customers and to seek that feedback from the groups that are working in these areas.
That's absolutely the case. Now, we did consult for a period of 18 months, as I said. But what that meant is a couple of things. Firstly, we developed an excellent understanding of what the deficiencies were, what the service was that our customers were looking for. But by having engaged community organisations and responded to what they were telling us, they've now supported us in terms of the range of changes that have been introduced.
So what can customers pay for now with the reformed Centrepay?
Look, as I said, it's back to basics. Customers can pay for necessities, such as accommodation. That usually means rent, utilities, which is gas, electricity and internet, childcare services, various insurance types, medical and dental services, veterinary services for vets, and in remote areas it can also be used for food.
And obviously there'll be things that they can't use Centrepay for anymore. So can you tell me a bit about those?
Yeah, sure. And again, I just want to reiterate, this is a direct result of feedback from individuals and other organisations. But customers will no longer be able to pay for clothing, household goods, refrigerators, etc., mobile devices, tobacco, alcohol, funeral costs, and similar items through Centrepay as part of these reforms.
So what should current Centrepay customers know? Is there anything that people need to do if they're using the service at the moment for their bills?
Look, for many customers, their current arrangements for paying rent and utilities via Centrepay will remain absolutely unchanged. But businesses that offer services that are being removed are going to enter a 12-month transition period where existing deductions will continue, but no new or increased deductions will be allowed into the future. Of course, customers can still make purchases from these businesses. We're not saying that you shouldn't do business with these organisations, but they simply have to look at using other payment methods. So although some of these services are being removed from Centrepay, you can buy goods like appliances, furniture, mobile phones, tablets, etc. And what we'd suggest is maybe look at no interest loan schemes or other arrangements like that.
And those are primarily offered by third-party groups, are they?
Yes, they are. And look, and of course, the other option you also have available is lay-by and, the more common means of, paying for these items. What we're saying is that Centrepay needs to be taken back to its basic essential service, which is to enable our customers to balance their money and meet their essential costs like accommodation and utilities.
How many businesses will be affected by these service removals? Have you had any feedback?
Well, that's a really good question because this isn't a blanket removal of specific businesses. What we're doing is clarifying what services are appropriate for a regular bill paying tool. And there are approximately 250 businesses currently registered for services which will be impacted by the changes. But that's out of a total of 11,000 businesses that use Centrepay.
What about remote areas? Were there any considerations made regarding food and services in those more remote areas of our country?
Absolutely. And the reason for that is we recognise that food security is critical, especially in those remote areas. So customers can still use Centrepay for food purchases at community stores, for example, so that we can ensure that they have access to essential food items given the limited number of alternatives that exist in many of those communities.
Well, thanks, Hank, for providing some clarity around Centrepay and the reforms that have happened. I guess, as you said, it was important to do this work, and so it's great that customers can have this service that now really goes back to being bill paying. I guess also if people want more information, they can always go to the website.
Absolutely. servicesaustralia.gov.au and you just look up Centrepay, a single word.
And people can find out what businesses are involved on our website.
There's a wealth of information, including the businesses that are available.
Great. All right. Well, thanks so much, Hank, for joining us again today. It's great to have you back in the studio. And remember, to our listeners, make sure you subscribe so that when the next episode pops up, you'll see it first. But thanks for joining us today, Hank.
A real pleasure. Thank you.